Brian Norman is sounding ferocious. He is sounding serious. He pretty much warns Devin Haney ahead of their upcoming fight. And your boy Ego is going to break it down in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I just seen an interview. It was sent to me by Gary. Shout out to Gary who DM'd me. There's an interview with Brian Norman that he just did, an exclusive with boxing reporter Sean Zattel. And I want to highlight some of the things that Brian Norman was saying. And I'm just going to give you guys my perspective. I will paraphrase. But to get into what he said, for starters, Norman said Devin did an interview and basically said the Ryan Garcia fight made people believe that he has a deficiency and can't take the left hook. That kind of temple shot, that hook to the head, he's not good, or he's susceptible to a left hook. So Brian Norman has a knockout in his last fight with the left hook. So Devin was basically saying in his interview that he wants to shut the game up and shut people up who believe that is the case, that he can't take the left hook. So Brian Norman, in this interview, he's asked about this, like, hey, what do you think of Devin Haney saying that he wants to shut people up, that he can't take the left hook? And Brian Norman pretty coldly responds. He's like, all right, that's fine. He can have the left hook, but take that. You know, if that's the narrative that people are running with, that I got to get you with the left hook and you're weak to the left hook and you've improved and button that up, cool. But I'll knock him out with my right hand. So I was like, dang. At least my thing is this. Brian Norman is saying everything in this interview, I mean, to a T, that you want to hear from a fighter. And I really, to be honest, I really like his delivery, because his delivery, like, I'm from the Bay Area, man. There are some times where people will do the rah stuff. And I feel like more often than not, at least out here, the people that be screaming and doing this and all these theatrics, more often than not, they're not really about what they said that they would be about. But the person I was told to watch for is the cool, calm, collect, silent killers, right? The silent one was the most deadly one where I'm from. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I like about Brian Norman. He's saying kind of threatening things, if you will, but he's not saying it in a cartoon type of way, like a cartoonish way where it sounds unrealistic. Another thing, and this goes against Devin Haney included, sometimes you'll get a fighter like Devin Haney who hasn't had a knockout since 2019. I think 10 fights in a row, he hasn't knocked anybody out, even though a lot of those fights, except for Ryan Garcia and maybe Jose Ramirez, he was significantly bigger than all those guys, at least when he rehydrated, right? And sometimes you get a fighter like Devin Haney, again, not really known for like crazy power, right? Maybe is decent or respectable, but he's not known like a Gervonta Davis, Better Biev, Brian Norman, or even like a David Benavidez, who will like beat you down and beat you into submission through attrition type of guy, right? He's not really known for that, right? And sometimes you'll have boxers who they do, like, I feel like Devin's team, sometimes they do the rah stuff. Like, there was a moment where Bill Haney was on the phone with Adrian Broner, who has a chin, right? Stood up to Maidana's punches and didn't get knocked out. And Bill Haney was screaming at Adrian Broner. They were beefing. And he was like, man, I'm going to call Dev. Da-da-da-da. Don't make me call Dev on you. And he was saying it to Broner like Broner would be petrified. And then even Devin Haney's team, they got shirts where it says Debo Haney. Like, to me, I'm keeping it real like I always do on my channel. The Haneyacks, they're going to say, oh, Ego, you're hating. I have no reason to hate. This is my truest opinion, right? When you do stuff like that, it comes across as contrived and forced. You have not knocked out anybody in like 10 fights since 2019, right? It's been some time. And then the person you did knock out was probably Antonio Moran or somebody who's a lower tier person. You didn't knock out Lomachenko, Jojo Diaz, didn't knock out Regis Prograis, you dropped him. You did knock out Ryan Garcia clearly, didn't knock out Jose Ramirez. So why would you be manufacturing Debo Haney shirts when, like, Debo in the movie, oh, that bike. Oh, I didn't know you wanted it back. Right this way, homie. Right? Booyah! Debo was known for power, known as the bully, known as knocking people out, right? And uppercutting people, and everybody feared him. So Devin is a skilled boxer, but I wouldn't say that he would be comparable to a Debo. I feel like a Debo would be Gervonta Davis. A Debo would Brian Norman or Better Biev or somebody like that. Even in a way, like it looks like in a way has paralyzing power and he's very technical, right? So I wouldn't really put that jacket on Devin Haney. So I don't feel like the Haneys really are what they say. Like, you know what I mean? They do a lot of theatrics and advertise. So for me, back to this interview with Brian Norman, what I like personally, is Brian Norman, he's like, he can have the left hook. That don't have to be my only punch. I can knock him out with my right hand. So I like that because I've seen his fights. I study the game. I know my job well, and I do my research. I believe he has the power to do what he's saying. Even his daddy, like when Brian Norman Sr. is doing the interviews and he's like, Devin Haney, I don't think he's a bigger threat kind of power-wise than Derek Cuevas or the Jin Sasaki, I feel like it's from a place of realism as opposed to like rah, right? The same like fairy tale land that would make you make Devin Haney Debo shirts. That don't sound realistic because my thing is this. If you believe Devin's nickname should be Debo Haney at this point, there was a point where Devin was having some difficulty getting a fight, but you're putting it on thick after the Ryan Garcia fight. And we all know what that Ryan Garcia fight did to Devin's brand. So for me, it looks like somebody who's trying hard. It looks like a try hard type of mentality versus me. I'm always going to personally resonate in terms of like pre-fight banter and trash talk to the person who's trash talking, but from experience and from what they've showed us, they're possibly capable of the destruction that they're talking about. So I'm not saying it's an easy fight. This is not a fight prediction, but I do think Brian Norman has power in both hands. So he could hurt Devin with the left or he could hurt him with the right. I don't think he's a one-handed fighter. That's the point I'm making. So when he's doing this cool, calm, calculated interview, he sounds like a hitman, like an assassin. He got a cool little ATL draw to his speech, you know, like T.I. or something. And he'd be like, you know, I could talk and I could keep talking your ear off, but talk is cheap. So I'm just going to get out there and show you. And Sean Zattel was asking Brian Norman, like, hey, you got dropped in the fight with Boa. I forgot the dude's name. It's not Boa Chuck, but some dude dropped him. I forgot how to pronounce the dude's name. And have you improved? What do you think about the detractors and the people who say you got dropped? And he had good responses to everything that I've seen. I haven't seen the entire interview, but I watched the whole section. And I thought Brian Norman, weeks ahead of the fight, he's talking like I want to hear as a fan and a boxing media member. He's saying the things that I like. He was like, I don't have a big ego. I'm not like a person where I'm too big for it. So if there's things I got to work on, then I got to work on it. And I'm good with that. And I really like that response from Norman. Basically, I'm not an egomaniac where I'm just like, oh, I'm perfect and everything I do is great. I got dropped. And he said, you've seen pretty much the progress after that fight. I went on a tear and I'm knocking these dudes out now. So he says, I watched my tapes back. I see what I could correct. And we work to and strive to improve and become better. And he said, I think that's what I've showed. And that's true. Again, everything he's saying sounds good and checks out. He had the struggle fight where he got dropped. You know what I mean? But then he came back in fights with Cuevas, knocked him out crazy. Santillan definitely knocked him out crazy. The fight with the Japanese dude, Jin Sasaki, knocked him out dummy crazy. Fight of the year, knockout of the year. And I agree with his dad when his dad was saying that the fight is more dangerous with those guys. Because you look like, let's say his last opponent, Jin Sasaki, that dude was like on some samurai stuff. He looked like he had decent pop and he was like warriored out where he looked like, you gonna have to get me up out of here or I'm just gonna keep coming. I watched the fight live. I got up early in the morning or whatever it was to watch that fight, my time, Pacific Standard Time. And one thing that I noticed about the dude was he was dummy relentless and he was like he was sworn by honor, you know, that he wasn't just gonna quit. He's not the type, he don't look like the type to quit in a fight. So he was bringing it until he couldn't bring it no more. And he got separated from his senses from Brian Norman. So book it. I love this fight. Norman, Haney, great clash of styles. He was saying that, you know, he just sounded confident. Like he has different tricks up his sleeve and he not really worried about it. And he said he's going to put Devin Haney to sleep. So I can't wait to watch it because it's high stakes. And my thing is this, and I've said this from the beginning, Ryan gave Devin all the problems in the world. And it was like a half-hearted, half-trained, half playing around, half drinking drugs or whatever he was going through version of Ryan Garcia. And he gave Devin major issue. Brian Norman at this new weight class probably has more power than Ryan Garcia. And I think he has more dimensions and wrinkles to what he does. So Devin will have to be very cautious and careful because Ryan, in my opinion, boxing ego, I feel like Ryan is more of a one-handed fighter than Brian Norman, right? I've seen some vicious Brian Norman combinations, right? Ryan, he primarily, if he gets you, is most likely with the left hook. I think maybe in the fight with Oscar Duarte, off memory, I think Ryan might have got something done with his right hand, but I feel like 8-9 times out of 10 with Ryan is set up with the left hand for him. But Brian Norman does have power in both hands. Let me know what you think. Great stuff from Brian Norman. Very good interview. Check it out. And it only hypes me for the fight. For more boxing news, I got you. Boxing news daily, 24/7. I'm your man. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Super Chats and the Cash Apps. Keep holding it down. I'll keep holding y'all down. And I'm out.